2,500 years ago, the world was not as we see it today. In that dark era, power meant only one thing: absolute fear and destruction. The Assyrian and Babylonian empires would completely erase their enemies. Cities were burned to the ground, and entire nations were enslaved. But then a power emerged that changed the course of history forever. This is the story of the empire that united a third of the world's population. And it begins with one man, known to the world as Cyrus the Great. Cyrus did not shed blood like ordinary kings. His vision was entirely different. And the ultimate test of this vision was the city deemed impossible to conquer, the most powerful city on earth, Babylon. The year was 539 BC. The walls of Babylon were so incredibly high and thick that chariots could literally be raced along their tops. It was impenetrable. Right through the center of the city flowed the mighty Euphrates River. The people of Babylon had years of rations. They were carefree, lost in their festivals. But Cyrus did not use the sword. He used his mind and engineering. Under the cover of darkness, the Persian army began digging massive trenches miles away. Their goal was to divert the river, slowly. The water level inside Babylon began to drop. When it was only knee-deep, the army silently waited under the giant walls. When the people of Babylon woke up the next morning, they realized that their invincible city had been conquered without a single arrow being fired. But what happened after the conquest was even more shocking to history. Unlike ordinary kings, there was no massacre. Cyrus ordered his law carved on a clay cylinder, known today as the Cyrus Cylinder. This was the world's first charter of human rights. He freed all slaves and granted them full permission to return to their homelands. For the first time in world history, religious freedom was established as a state law. Time passed, and Darius the Great transformed this empire into a modern system. He built the Royal Road, a massive paved highway stretching for thousands of miles. The world's first postal system was launched, and a single currency was introduced. Persia was no longer just an empire. It had become the absolute center of civilization. Then came the era we see in Hollywood movies, the epic wars between Greece and Persia. The battlefield of Thermopylae, where the legend of the 300 Spartans was born. Movies depict the Persian army as savages, but the historical reality was completely different. The Persian immortals were the most disciplined and civilized army of their time. To the mighty Achaemenids, Greece was merely a small, rebellious province. But every superpower eventually falls. Alexander defeated Persia and burned it to ashes. Yet the spirit of Persia did not die. Centuries later, they rose again as the Parthians. They were fierce horse-riding warriors, who successfully halted the advance of the Roman Empire. And then, the Sasanid Empire was established. This was the golden age of Persia. Zoroastrianism became the state religion, and arts and sciences reached their absolute peak. Rome and the Sassanids fought the longest wars in human history, lasting for centuries. These endless, brutal wars had hollowed out and weakened this magnificent empire from the inside. Both superpowers were completely exhausted, and they had absolutely no idea. In the harsh deserts of Arabia, an unseen storm had been born. A message and an overwhelming power that was about to change absolutely everything, advancing rapidly to overthrow the thrones of both Rome and the Sasanid Empire. This was the greatest turning point in ancient history, the violent rebirth of a civilization. In the next episode, the Great Persia encounters the rise of Islam and how Persia forever became